Okay, so maybe it's just me, but I feel like some people really need to like go outside and get some help when it comes to like certain things they be doing online because like y'all can't just be going on social media and start like screaming about how a fictional character you like would completely align with you politically and want all your political opponents dead or whatever. It make you sound delusional when you say this. You sound like you don't get out much, like you're so obsessed with a work of fiction that you need the fiction to validate your beliefs instead of it just being, fictional characters that don't actually exist in our world. I swear, this kind of stuff is probably why my dad told me to separate fiction from reality, because, like, the way some people be acting just be unhinged. Like, no, you can't just go talking about like how this cartoon character, this anime character, completely aligns with you politically, and if you disagree with them, then the fictional character wouldn't like you, or like I'm all for like funny what if scenarios and junk, but like, and for being brutally honest here, like a lot of these characters would either be from a world so different from ours that there'd probably be some level of disconnect on like what we even take issue with, because we already have some degree of that just based on cultural differences on Earth alone, let alone like people from like whole ass different universes where their rules and shit are different, and that's still like on a fully hypothetical level, mind you, because again, they're fictional characters, they're not real people in the real world in any capacity. I guess like I feel like I really need to like emphasize this because one of the examples I've seen of this being done is like with One Piece. Look, I'm a big One Piece fan. I've been enjoying One Piece since I was like 8 years old, way back in like '03. I had to start with like the 4 Kids dub, but we all had to start somewhere. But even then, it's like, dude, you look freaking goofy saying that like the freaking Straw Hats would agree with you politically and want all your political opponents dead. Like, I know we like to joke about like, yeah, we just give Luffy a burger and he'll like dismantle a corrupt government system in like a day or a week. Like, it doesn't quite go like that, like very consistently. Not really. Cause like there'd be some places where he show up and stop the bad guy, but it isn't like dismantle a whole system at the same time. Like sometimes he's just beating the bad guy and then they eventually leave because like it was actually like the villain's home turf to begin with, or at least it's kind of in a condition where like there ain't really like people to take it back from whoever's in charge. Like who's taking Thriller Bark from Gecko Moria, for example? I don't even know. Like people like that are free to leave now, sure, but I don't think they want to stay there. You know, because they're kind of trapped there, if anything. And it's like, even like politics wise, like, where do you think the Straw Hats would even land? You know, because like one arc, they're freeing a country from a tyrant that's taken the homeland of some indigenous people. Another arc, he's helping a monarch stop a civil war that's starting up because of manipulation from a warlord in the background. And another arc, they're like dealing with some like insurgent type situation where like this one guy who's like an extremist wants to like topple the monarchs in charge and like start a whole like race war essentially. Like we have all these different scenarios with all these different kinds of characters and like different positions, from like a rebel against a system kind of situation, a person in charge of the system trying to stop corruption from within type situation. Like it varies. The Straw Hats aren't really like strictly in any one position on like the political alignment chart. Sometimes they're helping what should be the authority, sometimes they're fighting an authority, because like, yeah, sure, the world government is undoubtedly corrupt and full of terrible people that are doing all kinds of messed up stuff, but like, it's not like that would extend to every ruler of an island on every island across the seas, because again, you got Vivi, you got King Riku, you got like Neptune and such. Like, they're all pretty chill. They actually like the Straw Hats. They like what they're doing, and like, they're not really doing any corrupt tyrant type shit. They just want to rule their countries well and do right by their people. It's just other outside factors that cause the problem. Then you have other countries where, yeah, there is like a tyrant dickhead that's messing stuff up. Like your Walpoles, your Doflamingos. What was his name again? Orochi. And all his nonsense was surfing from the like Odin's whole family and whatever. Like, it's kind of funny to think about, you know, because like these people that are online 24/7, constantly like starting shit on like freaking Twitter and Reddit and whatever the fuck, and always talking all this big game. Like, a lot of y'all seemingly just don't seem to spend like enough time like out in the real world around other people, because like, what kind of reasonable person be talking about like how they need Luffy in this world to beat up like Donald Trump or whatever? Like, dude, it's a fictional universe, not in the same world. You can't be comparing Luffy to freaking Karl Marx and Kamala Harris. That makes no goddamn sense. Like, not even like on a technical level, because like, Luffy started a jailbreak just to find someone he cared about. Kamala was putting like a shit ton of people in jail around the time people were making this comparison, which was ironic as hell. Sharing a birthday with Karl Marx is just a sheer coincidence, because Luffy's birthday is on a holiday in countries like Japan called Children's Day. Sharing that birthday with Karl Marx is just pure coincidence, because let's be real, Karl Marx is kind of bitch made. Like, he's kind of like one of those Nepo baby type guys that kind of just coasted off of his dad's money and didn't really do all that much himself outside of like writing, and even then not even like consistently successfully. Like, yeah, his whole ideology continued on to the modern day, though you could make a case that it probably like tarnished his family name forever, because like, I doubt his whole family like agreed with his mindset. I'm pretty sure his dad like left letters for him and stuff, but it was kind of concerned like, what are you doing with your life? How are you like paying for like yourself and your girlfriend to live and shit? I swear to you, like, his dad sent him letters like out of concern that he was kind of just a deadbeat or something. Is that really the kind of guy we should be comparing to Monkey D. Luffy? Like, the guy who has so much ambition it manifests as like a freaking superpower? Are we for real right now? If anything, I feel like Luffy wouldn't like Marks because he just be like talking all this shit, but then when it comes to actually getting shit done, it's like he ain't doing nothing. He ain't like making waves anywhere near the same way as like a lot of other people have throughout history, let alone in One Piece. You kind of goofy, honestly. And heck, I doubt a lot of these kind of people would even like the Straw Hats if they actually were real people. They probably wouldn't like that Nami would be like super capitalist because of how much bank she'd want to make by getting like royalties on all her anime figures of her and stuff. They wouldn't like how pervy Sanji is. People would probably actually accuse Zoro of racism, even though like the whole minority hunter thing is actually just a meme, and how many black people he fought was actually more of so coincidence. Honestly, I could go on like Usopp's lies. Probably start calling him a grifter or whatever. Freaking Robin, they probably try to find some way to cancel her, even though, like, why the fuck would you? She's best girl, but hey, that's just me. No, I guess some people might not like her jokes or something. Because some people are just soft. I mean, heck. I wonder what they'll find out about Frankie. Probably complain about him not wearing pants. I don't know. Yeah, they probably can't try to cancel Brooke too because of the whole asking for panties thing. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Mind you, this do be the company Luffy keeps with him on the regular. I'm just saying, y'all will probably be interrogating him and questioning him, and that is that like some kind of roundabout way to like get him to do what you want politically instead of just letting him do his own thing. And that's how it'll probably all go south, because it'd be like, yeah, I kind of want to do my own thing with my friends, and y'all can't just try to make me feel guilty about my friends and how they are. I swear, there's for all this talk about like wanting Luffy to like fight, I don't know, Donald Trump or whatever the fuck. I feel like there's just as much of a likelihood that Luffy would end up like beating up like all kinds of people depending on the circumstances. Like I could just as easily see him like beating up a leftist or whatever as he would like some far right extremist. Because man just wants to like go out and have adventures and shit with his friends and whatever. Fuck, he's not invested in like freaking Marxist theory or whatever the fuck. He ain't trying to do. Why would Luffy care about MAGA when he don't even live in America? He'd be out sailing the freaking ocean going wherever the fuck he wants. Like, use your heads, guys. Come on. I don't know. Like, this is just all hypothetical speak, because, like, again, they're fictional characters. They don't exist in reality. So it's all just, like, hearsay to begin with, to assume that this fictional character you like would align with your politics specifically. Like, I never once assumed this with any fictional characters I like, because, like, most fictional characters I like don't live in a world like mine where things are a certain way with our freaking politics and shit. Like, I'm not expecting say, freaking Sonic the Hedgehog or Dante from Devil May Cry to like understand the specifics of like my upbringing and environment and why that leads to me thinking the way I do about certain things. Because, you know, the different people, different lifestyles, different upbringing, different experiences, and all that shit. On top of the fact that they're fictional characters, so I wouldn't be able to ask them this shit in the first place. Like, I feel like I really need to emphasize that. Like, they're not real. Like, I like these characters, I enjoyed them greatly, but, like, I'm not gonna pretend that, like, they would be, like, side by side in solidarity with me when it comes to, like, fighting against certain forms of oppression and various kinds of bullshit, because, like, yeah, they're not in the real world. That ain't gonna happen. Like, these characters exist for like the stories that they're made for, and I feel like we kind of forget like the big takeaway we're supposed to be getting here is like kind of learning and applying when it comes to like the stories themselves, because like, yeah, you could say interpret like these experiences that these characters go through as being something similar to what you yourself has gone through in life. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a shorthand for they just like me for real in every conceivable way, because there's a good likelihood that they're not. Like, I'm not expecting, say, I don't know, the Brotherhood of the Tofu from Wakfu to agree with everything that's kind of on my mind, because, like, they barely do that with each other half the time, if we're being real. Like, come on. It's like different people have different priorities and like different mindsets and like how to approach different things. I feel like that's something that's lost on a lot of people now. And like we're at the point where we're desperately trying to like cling to this idea that a fictional character would be an ally in a specific kind of mindset or ideology that isn't really even guaranteed like line perfectly across both universes. Like, look, I get it, right? Like, One Piece has, say, revolutionaries in like LGBT representation, and even like minorities and such having like some important roles here and there, depending on like how you view that. It was like it's a setting that's built in a way where it would make sense to have these kinds of things. Cause like it's a vast ocean, lots of different places around the world to go to, lots of different kinds of people to see. They have like their own cultures and stuff, and like it builds up, and it's natural and it makes sense, and it's a really really big world with a lot of islands to work with. So like you could just have like different islands with different specific things even. Like the scale is broad enough that it can work in terms of like having some variety. It doesn't necessarily mean that like everything pertaining to these fictional works and their characters have to align with everything you believe either, though. I mean, shit, man. I'm not even sure if someone's like, I'm not even sure if, like, say, characters I like, say, Sora from Kingdom Hearts would even understand the concept of socioeconomic disparity. Ratchet, maybe, but not Sora. So it's like, wouldn't it seem kind of silly to, like, bring up these characters in like a more serious political discussion, like wouldn't it seem kind of concerned, or at least absurd, to like bring up Luffy and how like you want him to kill Trump, or I don't know, like endorse communism or like radical leftist social policies or whatever. I don't even know how the logic connects. Wouldn't Dragon make somewhat more sense since he's actually a revolutionary trying to topple like a authoritarian regime? Like, Luffy's like a pirate. He's kind of just out doing his own thing. The only reason he keeps toppling like tyrants and shit is because they're fucking with people that he considers his friends. It's kind of like a whole thing for him. Like, you fuck with the homies, you catch the hands. That's just how Luffy works. Political affiliation was never really a part of it for him. Can we be so real right now? Like, he's not homies with Mr. 2 because he's LGBT. He's homies with Mr. 2 because he likes Mr. 2 and thinks he's funny. And likes hanging out with him, thinks he's cool. Like, are we just not paying attention? Is this like one of those media literacy is dead things that I keep hearing about? Like, people just ain't paying attention to the text and just want to see what they want to see when it comes to a work of fiction, and not like really stop to consider, hey, maybe me desperately wanting a bunch of fictional characters to align with my politics is kind of just coming off as desperate and weird, because it is kind of like, even if they do align with you politically, like, why are you bringing up fictional characters when we're talking about real world politics? Like, what are you doing? At least in the terms of like the X character would agree with me type stuff. It's like, it's one thing to like maybe do like a sort of analysis, like compare and contrast, because like, yeah, these stories have their forms of inspiration from different works. There's no denying that. But like, when you're at the point where you're like screaming on Twitter.com that this fictional character you like aligns with you politically because you try to like find some reasons and excuses based on like random shit you probably look into way too deeply in parts of the story, it doesn't exactly bode well in terms of like people wanting to take you seriously, because you're not exactly making a strong case in that regard. Like, I enjoyed like fictional characters and like all the finer details and the parallels as much as the next guy, but like, come on, that's not the place to be doing that. Like, go outside, talk to people, interact with other human beings that live normal lives, and kind of like come to realize how like our world actually is like, instead of, I don't know, staying in like an isolated circle that might warp your idea as to like how the reality of the world actually is or something. I don't know, man. I ain't your freaking therapist. Just, if you're gonna debate politics, like, do it in a space that at least makes some sense. It's just ridiculous. It's like, I'm seeing all this stuff talking about like One Piece is political and it aligns with me. Like, sure, Jan. And personally, I feel like I enjoy the entertainment more when I'm not constantly comparing it to problems I have in the real world, because funny thing about escapism, you kind of like having it as an escape from the real world problems that you're probably dealing with in the moment. It's like, yeah, I'm against slavery and racism and other kinds of nonsense that seems really dumb. It doesn't mean that I want to talk about it constantly every day in every single situation involving literally anything that makes me happy, because, fun fact, it's not very fun to talk about unpleasant things in every single goddamn thing ever. Maybe it just seems like a weird case to have One Piece specifically for this, because, like, yeah, it does have a lot of, like, stuff that it tackles, like, you know, inequalities and oppression and slavery and all that jazz, but, like, it all kind of makes sense for, like, the theme that they're going for with, like, freedom and, like, a whole pirate era type thing where all that stuff was still pretty normal back then. It's like, it's doing stuff that makes sense in the narrative. They're not, like, trying to do, like, some sort of overt political messaging, beating you over the head with a specific ideology, whatever. Like, for all you're talking about, like, Oda having, like, a Che Guevara poster and, like, having Dragon moving the way he does, the man does realize at the end of the day he's making a manga whose target demographic is young boys from, like, 7 to 15 or some shit. And that's why there's so many big ass anime titties in it. In case you kind of forgot what we're talking about here. Like, we tackle more than one thing, we can have some variety in what we're doing. We can have some serious stuff, but at the same time we can also just have fun with things instead of being serious and hardcore all the time and being hard asses about all the things. Like, you could think this way, just don't expect people to be fine with it when you're constantly, like, shoving it in their face. The kind of mindset is why Trump probably won a second time, because y'all keep driving away people who probably wouldn't have voted for him if you weren't constantly pissing people off. But that's getting to, like, a very specific kind of people. I don't even want to get into that right now. God damn. We need to get our shit together, man. Like, as a country. Instead of screaming on Twitter.com about fictional characters aligning with us politically and beating up people we don't like because of politics or whatever the fuck. Especially when it's fictional characters I know y'all wouldn't even like in real life because they be doing stuff that you don't like already. The only reason y'all stand them is because y'all actually got enamored with the story itself and, like, stuff like the sad backstories and, you know, like, the thrilling dramas. Oda's a good storyteller, is what it is. Enough that y'all actually end up liking characters that I know you wouldn't stand in real life because they aren't pure enough for you in terms of their morals and shit. Which, they're pirates, so yeah. Jeez.